pretty much all of you, and you would have done this yourself, right? Not other family members, but as individuals, a lot of you would have done that, right? And of course, you know, everybody's been to the Future store, so I'm not going to ask that question. So that gives us a good sense of, you know, where, you know, how this audience is very well aware of, you know, not only being able to shop in the brick and mortar stores, but also, you know, leveraging e-retail to their advantage. So what I thought was, you know, I initially thought I would throw some statistics at you all to give you all a sense of, you know, how large, you know, the whole retail business is in India. So very briefly, the expectation is that by 2020, retail will be about $1 trillion in this country, right? That's a large number. You take 1 trillion, multiply it by 70, which is potentially the dollar, and then you get a very large number. Now, of that, the expectation again of organized retail, right, which is more brick and mortar, but organized, like the Future Group and the Reliance and all these big groups. Expectation is that could be about $150 to $180 billion, right? So this 20,000 crores of the Future Group probably would be a much larger number by then. E-commerce, which is a much smaller, you know, animal in the room today, with probably about 11 billion today, is expected to race ahead to about 100 billion, right? So that's the expectation. So obviously you have, you know, a large growing market. Then you have organized retail, which is growing well. You have e-tail, e-commerce, which is growing even faster and potentially, you know, kind of creating a challenging environment for the organized retail companies, right? So we have to understand, and that's what we want to ask both the speakers today as to how they feel, you know, one is going to impact the other, and the impact of both of these on the mom and pop retail shops, right? There are lots of people, probably even in this group here, who run single stores. And I'm sure a lot of them would want to understand, you know, what is the impact of two giants in the room fighting, and how that would impact the single store owners. So if, you know, I'd like to ask Rakesh specifically, you know, over the last, I would say 3 years, you know, e-retail has dominated our discussions, you know, whether it's in the newspapers, the ads that come at us, you know, and to the extent, you know, organized retail has probably taken a bit of a backseat. So how does, as the Future Group, as part of the organized retail industry, how do you perceive this, you know, growing interest and obviously this expectations of growth for e-commerce, and how does that impact organized retail?